Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am on my deck today, and one of the things that I've been thinking about and trying to work on is really how to organize my California palette. I mean, if I was in Michigan right now, I would know exactly what I want to do color-wise to achieve the effects of fall and the trees that exist there, and the trees once they lose their leaves, and those distant trees that you've seen me paint so many times. I didn't have to think about any of that, but I'm really working hard to try and figure out exactly what I want to do here in California as far as a palette goes, because I've discovered that it just needs some adjustment, so I need to do some experimenting to really kind of figure it out. And you know, I have to say, one way of accomplishing that is my buddy Michael Chamberlain is very successful with the palette that he uses. And so I'm going to give a few of the colors that he's trying. I'm going to give them a try and see what I can do with them, and just kind of start there, but use some of those as a reference point, and then see if I am missing something or not. I have a feeling that there may be a couple that I'm going to prefer to add back in, add to this palette. But anyway, I want to show you one of them that I've used before, but not a tremendous amount, is yellow ochre. And yellow, it's a really, really interesting color that I haven't used it a lot in a lot of different mixes, so tried to use it by itself a few times in very specific purposes, but I'm going to give that a try. And obviously it's kind of nice to have access to the Blick store that is not too far from here. I actually went to the one that's really close to I guess it would, I don't know if it would be considered the one in Hollywood. It's probably the Hollywood store. But anyway, that's I went there yesterday, picked up some paint. So used alizarin crimson plenty of times, so that one's not new to me. But the big tubes are so much less expensive than the small tubes, and so I wanted to get as many big tubes as I can, because I find myself going back to the bag a lot when I'm out painting, because I haven't put enough paint out on my palette. And so you know, when you just have these little 37 milliliter tubes, there's something psychological about putting out enough paint. It's really one of the top 3 challenging things for new artists, and in my opinion, to not get enough paint on the palette for what you're doing. And so when you have a really big tube in your hand, it's just not so hard to just squeeze out a bunch of it. So yeah, so it's kind of trying to psych myself out. Ultramarine blue, again, not new to me. Just have a lot of it. This one is new to me. They didn't have a large tube of it, so I had to get a couple of small ones. But I'm going to be good to myself and make sure I use enough of it. It's phthalo blue green shade. I've never really been satisfied with the combination of colors that I'm using for my skies, so I'm going to give this one a try, and also see kind of how it mixes with some of the other colors, and not only use it by itself with white, but also see how it does in some of the mixes. I have a feeling that mixed with some green, it's probably going to make a pretty good watercolor for some of the greenish blue waters around here. Burnt sienna, totally new to me. I haven't used this. I may have tried it at one time or another. I did use, like, I've tried Mars orange, and I've tried like an iron oxide color before. This, at least what's represented on the tube here, looks pretty good, so I'm gonna be giving that a go. And then I've got Hansa Yellow Light, and we'll see how that works out. I brought over my Indian yellow. This has always been a staple for me. I don't know if I can do without it, but I've got it close by just in case I can't seem to achieve what it is that I want to do with what's in front of me here. But yeah, so I'm gonna do some 2-color mixes, and then I just kind of want to work with figuring out some sky color stuff. So yeah, so just you know, today you just kind of get to hang out with me on my deck, and we'll try out some of these colors and see what they do. All right. So I'm going to just kind of go and go in order here. So I'm going to first take the I'm going to start out with this Hansa yellow just by itself up here in the corner. This Hansa yellow light actually looks a lot like a cad yellow to me, and then I'm going to mix it with the next one in line. So I'm going to take some. I'm going to do this with. Kind of the way I would just typically mix it if I was out in the field. I want some of the yellow, and I'm going to take some of the yellow ochre, and I want to see what that gets me here. There'll be a lot of cleaning the brush in this exercise, but and we'll go back to the Hansa yellow, mix it with the burnt sienna. That certainly looks like a very useful color. And then let's see what it does with the alizarin crimson. I was thinking about cad orange. I've had orange on my palette for so long, but this is actually a pretty nice orange right here. So I may not need cad orange. And keep going back to that pool there. It's a very the Hansa is very transparent, so and we'll mix it with the ultramarine blue, and we're gonna get a green, very dark, kind of a nice dark blue green here. A little bit of and we'll see what it's going to do with the phthalo blue. Yeah, you can really kind of see those somewhat jewel tones that phthalo blue creates with that yellow. Let's see, didn't take much of that. Let's halftone some of these so we have a feeling of what we're dealing with here. Some Hansa yellow, halftone it. Actually makes a really nice yellow. I can see where this might really work out in some of those kind of, when it gets kind of yellowish on the horizon. That's a pretty nice color for that. And then we'll half tone. I like half toning everything because you get a little different feel for the color when you do that. It's almost a flesh tone. So Hansa yellow, yellow ochre, and white gets really close to a flesh tone. And then I don't remember which pile I was in here, so I'm gonna have to go back and mix this one again. We're gonna half tone it. Yeah, that's also very very flesh, kind of a flesh color in that one as well. And we'll keep going here. I lost track of this pool as well, so I'll do the yellow, alizarin crimson, and get some white to half tone that. And that's it's got a very interesting tone to it. Very kind of a reddish. It's got a lot of red in it, obviously. These three make a really interesting combination right here. And then let's take this into this pool. It gives us this one. Let's see, we've got yellow, blue, white. And then we'll pull a half tone here. Yeah, that definitely pulls out one of those kind of aqua blue colors. The blue and the yellow. There's a lot of water tones in that. All right. So now we'll start with yellow ochre, and we're going to add. We already have this one. The actually we have the Hansa in that. We need the yellow ochre. This is kind of that burnt orange. This is a burnt orange color here that looks really good. Except I didn't start with the base color, so I got to go back to that. Give me 1 second here. All right, so we start with the base color up here. And it's going to be this one. So similar to this one. Those are actually not too far apart. This one obviously has a lot, you can tell it's got a lot more yellow in it. Makes a really good red right there. That's alizarin crimson and burnt orange. Or I'm sorry, alizarin crimson and burnt sienna. Which I just failed on that one because that one is actually in the next mix, so I'm gonna get that out of there. So it actually should be yellow ochre and alizarin crimson. So it's actually this color. Still a very nice red. It's almost a blood red. Okay. Yellow ochre and ultramarine blue. This one here, very gray green. This should work out really nice for distant greens. Watch when we halftone that. That's going to be really it's going to be really cool. And then we'll take the yellow ochre and the phthalo blue. Just a very small pinprick of that because it wants to own everything, of course. It's like it's the ruler of the world or something. I probably squeezed out a lifetime supply of it on my palette here. Just joking about that, but got a little bit wet. It's also a very jewel tone. And then, of course, the next combination would be the Hansa and the yellow ochre, which we actually already have here, so I don't have to drop down and grab that one. And as you can see, I'm just going in the order of my palette, so really it's that one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully that makes sense to you. But anyway. So the next one is going to be the burnt sienna, which I really kind of feel like this was a missing. Wait a minute, I gotta halftone these. Getting ahead of myself again. All right, so let's take the yellow ochre halftone, which is a really nice, it's a really nice sand color, actually. Maybe a little bit lighter. Let's see what happens here. I'm just gonna lighten that up just a touch more, just to see what we get there. Yeah. And then the yellow ochre, rich sienna, half-tones, very similar to this one over here. And then yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, and a half tone of that. Another flesh tone, but a lot more on the pink side, which is what you would expect, being as red as that color is there. But I'm already seeing this is a very versatile palette of colors, which is kind of, I don't know why I'm surprised, but there's some things here that are surprising me about this. So then we've got the yellow ochre and the ultramarine blue. And we're going to half tone that. This is that gray green that I mentioned for like distant trees that are off in the distant, especially like there's just some desert sort of tones in here that make this really nice. This is you can shift this one just a touch to the blue side, and it becomes a really interesting color. And then we have yellow ochre, phthalo blue, half-toned, and this is a very much a watercolor here. Some of the colors you find in the water around here. You can see this one has a lot more green in it than this one does. This one's a little more muted. So I could see this being a foreground color and this being a middle ground color, and this being like a distant color for trees, or you could blue it and actually use it for water in the distance as well. And then of course we go back to the other colors and we're good there. So all right, so we'll take a second here and clean off this palette. Got pools of color everywhere. All right, next up. Next up is burnt sienna. Burnt sienna. Just get the base color up here. I really didn't know the power of this burnt sienna color. A lot to be said about that one. And I like it. Alright. So burnt sienna And alizarin crimson is the next mix in line here. A little more. Make sure we got plenty of pigment in that so I can really see it. That is a beautiful color. I just got to make sure you're not getting any glare here. No, that looks good. All right. Then we've got burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. This is an interesting color. Very dark, very earthy brown color. And then we've got burnt sienna and phthalo blue. This is an interesting green. Still another very dark color, but it has a greenish tint to it, which we'll definitely see when we halftone that. Makes it gorgeous dark though. And then we'll go burnt sienna and Hansa yellow is this one here. Burnt sienna and yellow ochre. Is yellow ochre, and burnt sienna is this one. So there's no reason to mix those two. And I'm going to go back with a Sharpie or something. I'm going to actually label all of these so I know what they are. And so now we want a burnt sienna halftone. I'll get back on track here. That is actually that color there. Burnt sienna. It's just going to have a little bit of a reddish tint to it because it's got red underneath it. All right. And then we need burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, half-toned. It's kind of what we would expect there. It's a very similar color, just shifts to the red side. And then burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. Half that one up. It's a really nice gray. This one right here. Beautiful gray color there. On the very warm side. So I can see the combination of these two for like a distant hillside really working well together. Then we have burnt sienna and phthalo blue. And we'll half that one up. Looks like it needs a touch more of this. And that's this one here. Let's lighten that one. Just one more shade here. That's a nice color too. And then burnt sienna and yellow, Hansa yellow, half-toned is right there. So no need to do that one. And then we're left with ultramarine blue and phthalo blue mixed together. Let's just first get some ultramarine blue on the canvas here. So we just got ultramarine blue up here. And then ultramarine blue and phthalo blue together are this color right here. Very transparent. That's the color nonetheless. And then let's half-tone that one. Ultramarine blue, half-toned, gives us that one. And then we just want to see phthalo blue by itself, so let's put that over here. And then we'll have to tone that. All right, so we got to get back to once I washed that out, I actually ended up skipping it all together, so I've got to jump back to that one. So we got to get our alizarin crimson here. Just gonna drop it in over here. So we have our alizarin crimson by itself, which is a super color. I might have said that earlier. And then we've got the alizarin and ultramarine blue. Ultramarine. And then we've got alizarin and ultramarine is here. And then we have alizarin and phthalo. Which is here. And let's half tone that one. And then we'll half tone this one over here. This is a really nice dark, this alizarin crimson and phthalo blue, very deep. Different than, it's like it's got some warmth to it, even though it's a you know, you're mixing a lot of blue in there. It still has quite a bit of warmth to it. Not compared to these two, obviously, but super nice. And we'll get this alizarin crimson half toned out and see what we have there. Just a really nice pink. All right, let me get a Sharpie real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, so I went looking for a Sharpie. I was not fruitful. I couldn't find one anywhere. I tried another pen, it just didn't work. So I will label this later on. But just wanted to give you a look at some of the colors and just how amazingly beautiful they are. I mean, this palette really, I mean, it took me by surprise. The thing I like about it is there's nice saturated color, but they're not like, they still kind of maintain a sort of an earthy balance to them, which is exactly what I need. I mean, every condition pretty much that I've been looking at around here, I see it in this palette. So I don't actually think I need my Indian yellow the way I thought I did. So I'm gonna give this a try for a while. It's only 6 colors, which is, I usually have 9 colors on my palette, and I have for quite some time. So 6 is pretty mild, but yeah. So anyway, this is a great exercise. If you haven't done this with your palette, I highly recommend it. These 2 color mixes and then half toning them out just gives you a really good sense of what you can accomplish with the colors that you have, no matter what you have on your palette. So thanks so much for checking out the video. I do appreciate it, and I'll catch you later.